Welcome to the living memory of the X-Men. Now, today we're doing a little something a bit like, chopping it up with a friend of mine. I've been on his channel. His first time on mine. I've been to his house. His first time in my house. So, like, J-Man. I break it up.
Hey, thanks for having me on. You're basically on once a week, or maybe once every couple of weeks. You're on my channel, right?
Yeah, it's weird. Like, they changed my work schedule, so like now they got me like working during the day, and that's totally all the time when I would be with you. I would be hanging out with you guys.
Right.
I'm trying to make sense of it.
Yeah.
But okay, J-Man, you run your own channel. You run it, and I have. But as far as X-Men, how long have you, like, what's your credentials? How far do you go back?
Okay, well, so X-Men for me was mostly the it was weird. It was everything but the comics when I started out. So for example, the video game, the arcade game, is one of my all-time favorite arcade games. That group of X-Men, that Pride of the X-Men cartoon, that one episode cartoon. Wolverine was sort of my favorite, one of my favorite characters. I dressed up as Wolverine when I was 16 years old, and I did the claws and everything. And I went to school, and nobody knew who I was. They're like, "Who are you supposed to be?" And I was like, "I'm Wolverine, Logan." And they're like, "Nope, don't know who that is." Can you try to think in your mind to a point in time where Wolverine was not the household name that he is now due to Hugh Jackman and all that stuff?
No, I don't want to. I don't want to think about that world. That's a scary world.
No. So they thought it was Freddy Krueger. I'm like, Freddy Krueger has a glove hand of knives. I've got like 3 on each thing. Like, I actually had I'm like, are you guys dumb? Like, come on. Anyway, so the video games and all that, the comic books, I never was into Team Comics, except for I liked West Coast Avengers and the Defenders. I think those are like my 2 favorites. And Justice League, right? And then I played the games. And then when I started hardcore X-Men, where I don't know when I started to be like, okay, I gotta get all this stuff. It wasn't maybe not before Hickman. It was what was the thing before Hickman? So it's like, what was before X-Men Gold and all that stuff? Remember, there's Gold, Blue, Red.
Yeah, it was Bendis. Bendis had it.
Bendis. Okay, I like that stuff. Is that the red? That's the Cyclops.
Yeah. When Cable and X-Force was a thing. Okay, yeah.
Okay, so let's say AVX.
Okay.
Avengers. Let's say that is a good starting point. And the thing is, Cyclops. I can show you. I can say how you can. If you guys can. There's Cyclops, my favorite, and I've got
over here. He's my Cyclops was right. Okay.
Cyclops was right.
If I had a tattoo, if I was a tattoo guy, I would get Cyclops right here. Like, fight me.
Yeah. Well, so basically, Cyclops became. And I remember my buddy Sean had told me, don't read Avengers versus X-Men, because I'd liked Cyclops before that, and he wasn't my favorite. My favorites were Spider-Man, Hulk, the usual standard guys. And then I started getting into X-Men. I was like, I really like Cyclops, and he's now become sort of my favorite character. He wears glasses, so or he's got glasses, so do I. So I always like the idea of shooting the Force through your eyes, not lasers.
No. Those are like it's a punch. Okay, it's a
punch. Yeah. So that's sort of where, and then from that point on, I haven't looked back. And then when this whole Dawn of X and the Powers of 10 and all that stuff, when that came out, I thought, let me do my channel and start reviewing these. And for whatever reason, that caught on. And then I've not missed one issue since then. And I've reviewed every single issue that's come out until now. And even though my channel started out being like movie reviews and stuff, and the X-Men stuff just got really hyped. So I thought, well, I'll just continue with that. And now I've kind of do both.
So, all right. So how do you feel about all these books ending? Because like we have Marauders ending, Hellings is ending, Excalibur's ending. The only ones that we know for sure that are not are X-Men, Wolverine, and X-Force. Maybe New Mutants. That's it.
Yeah, I'm not sure about New Mutants as well. And I know Rob Liefeld, who I really do like Rob Liefeld a lot. I was into that's when I got into X-Force. So sorry, prior to what I was saying with the Bendis stuff, it was X-Force that got me into X-Men and the Executioner song. I actually have the entire Executioner song individual issues as they came out.
They were great. It was a good, like, all right. All right. I love the Executioner song because it was like my first like major X-Men event, and it felt like you remember when like they had cartoons do crossovers? It felt like it was. That's what it was. It was like something you would see on TV. I'm like, oh my god, you're seeing Havoc on X-Force. You're seeing Cable on X-Men, and they're doing their thing. That's crazy. Like, it was great, and I like how the X-Men can do that. They don't need the rest of the Marvel universe. The rest of the Marvel universe is dead, but X-Men, that's what they like. They don't. They're self-sufficient. They're self-contained.
Yeah. So like that is when I was really getting. That's when I got heavy into it, but then I left. So when I was saying the Bendis stuff, that's sort of where I started, and then I never looked back. But prior to that, I was on and off. So the X-Force brought me in. Executioner song brought me in. I don't know if I can pull these. Oh, I can. Hold on. I'll just grab it'll take me 2 seconds.
Go for it. Yeah, go for it, man.
Okay.
Less than 2.
First ever comic shop I went to. First thing I ever bought at a comic shop right there.
Wow.
Nightcrawler.
Yeah, okay.
And I love Archangel.
Archangel's so underrated.
I know.
Like, okay, remember when the 05 X-Men were brought to this time and Warren met the older version of himself? And he was like, I feel like something horrible just happened and no one wants to talk about.
Yeah, so I mean, I know. I didn't mean to dodge the question. Let me get back to your question. So all of these books ending, we know Rob Liefeld's doing the 30th anniversary X-Force or whatever it is. That's coming out. And I'm okay with a lot of this stuff ending because I like 2 books a week or 1 book a week. I really didn't like where there were so many books a week. We sort of discussed this on my channel where it was like, it's just getting too much. And I felt that a lot of these books were redundant, or they could have been backup stories, or you could have had 1 book, which was the Mutant Adventures or something, and have like 4 stories. Cause like there was pages and pages of like X-Corp where they're discussing corporate. I'm like, I work for a corporation. Why do I want to talk about corporate stuff?
It was Billions. It was X-Men meets Billions. And it was cool. It would like, I thought with Teeny Howard taking it, I was like, okay, I really like, I don't know why, but Excalibur seemed to got really good after the gap. I've been saying that for months. And with X-Corp, I was like, okay, I like these characters. I really like these characters. And I was thinking like, am I gonna have to wait like 12 to 15 issues for it to get good after all the layup has been all done? Then the story starts getting good. Like, no. And that's why I stopped. I did not collect issue 3. I boycotted it. It was a silent boycott.
Yeah.
Also, Trial of Magneto. Gee, come on.
It's not a trial. It's more like
the investigation.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I can't remember. Yeah, we talked about it. I can't remember who said it. I was like thinking, this is just like, this isn't a trial. Like, I literally thought it was going to be like, okay, it's literally a trial where I thought it was going to be like A Few Good Men where they're doing a trial. And you're like, okay, well, this is just the accusation. I know it's the accusation of Magneto. Right. You did it, Magneto. It's like, well, did I? Magneto. You did it. Innocent until proven guilty.
No, but here's the thing, though. With that, he wanted preferential treatment. He wanted but it's. I find it really funny when he gets emotional, as opposed to him regular. When he's emotional, he wants everybody to do everything he says just cause. When him regular, he's like, no, we gotta follow the rules, bro. We can't just give you everything.
Yeah, and he made the rules up with it's like him and Charles and thing made the rules. So what the heck?
He's like, we can't bring out clones. Magneto, that was your thing.
Right.
How are you breaking your own law? No, it's totally different. It's totally different.
Yeah, now it's me, right? So
Right.
yeah. I don't know. They need to end some of they are ending them all, and I'm happy. And I don't know what's going to come in its place. X-Men's a good book. Keep that going. I would say X-Men, New Mutants, X-Force. That's it.
I was really digging. Well, okay, Excalibur is ending, so
Yeah.
So like that whole story is that's fine. Get it but Sword, keep Sword. Yes,
Sword was cool. Yeah.
New Mutants, X-Men, and Wolverine and Sword. Sword, so good.
Yeah, Sword is cool. I is that ending though? I don't know.
No, I don't think so. I think
okay.
I overlooked it.
Yeah, that's like a weird one, right? Like it's X-Men, but you don't really necessarily need to. Like you have to read X-Force, you have to read New Mutants. There's like certain ones you have to read because they're all sort of interconnected.
Right.
Wolverine's. I don't even count Wolverine as an X-Men.
Wolverine is an X-Force book.
right, which is one thing I don't like. I love Wolverine. I always loved his solo series, no matter what incarnation they've been. I want it to just be Wolverine going on adventures and like what was it called? Black and Blood or Black White Blood or Red White Blood.
Yeah.
Something like that. Black White and Blood, I think is what it is.
Black, White and Red or something. It was I remember.
Well, that was awesome because it's just random stories of Wolverine. It's like that's what I like. I don't want this whole I have to read X-Force and Wolverine to understand Wolverine. And it's like I have to read Excalibur or I have to read like X Factor, which is now gone. But like let's say I have to read X Factor and X Corp to understand what's going on in New Mutants or something. Like why?
But hey, you know what? Don't bring up Logic because I tried to bring up Logic to Leah Williams and I got blocked for it. So that
she blocked you.
It's still great. It's still man. It's like hey, I'm gonna try and see if I can talk to Gary Dugan and Teeny Howard. Hopefully they don't block me.
If you say anything negative, they'll block you. I think the problem is that a lot of these people have gotten so into themselves that like they've forgotten that like, okay, we still want a good story. Like I understand you want to tell your version of things. And I find this problem, and you know this, I find this problem with all these like IPs now, where someone wants to take this character and say, no, this is what I think Archangel should do, and I don't care if it makes sense with previous incarnations. My Archangel does whatever I want because this represents me in comics. It's like, okay, or maybe you could write a good story with the characters that we like.
Right.
Like not everything has to be your view of the world, put in comic book form, right? Like,
yeah, like okay, I was having a discussion that got tense, talking about the Shadow King and New Mutants, and apparently, I was told that I was wrong for thinking that the Shadow King had a really good point. He's been around forever. Yes, he's a villain. I use that villain, but like he's seen all of mankind. He knows how this story ends, so you can't discount his experience. Like he has experience.
For sure.
But the New Mutants, they're going at it like, oh, we're better than that. If you like, we got to show that we're better. We can't be predator and prey. And I thought like that is such an entitled mindset. I like, all right, if you're a lion and you're at the top of the food chain, you're not going to stop being the top of the food chain you're not going to stay at the top of the food chain if you change everything about your about how you got there. It's weird,
right?
Like
I wasn't against Shadow King.
No, it's not. He wasn't wrong. It's just because you're in a higher place doesn't mean the rest of the world isn't. Remember, this is like mutants are still in their infancy. They need time to be aggressive. So
Yeah, I think what happens is that the writers, I mean, like, look, he killed Scout, so that's bullshit, obviously. But like,
I
well,
mean,
I like Scout, so but I don't want to. No, so that's kind of bullshit. But
it's
so he's a villain. He's a villain. But the point is that you got to make things interesting too. That's where we're at, right? Like that's sort of what you're saying. It's like, look, he's got his points to make, and someone else has their points. It's supposed to be like Star Trek, where Kirk is there and Spock is there and McCoy is there, and they're all different people with different backgrounds, and they're all giving. Nobody's wrong or right. Like McCoy will go the emotional route and say, no, we got to do this, and Spock goes the scientific, logical route, and Kirk has to kind of decide. And that's sort of what you want, in your storytelling. I think what happens though is that now with some writers, you're at the point where they have their view of the world, and they're going to make sure that you know what their view is, as opposed to thinking of the character's point of view. Like, is Shadow King wrong in his own mind? No, he's not wrong in his own mind, because he's speaking from his experience.
right.
So as a writer, you got to be careful on how you portray that. Like Magneto doesn't think he's a villain, or Shadow King doesn't think he's a villain, right? So that's how writing works. Like, you can't come in from the perspective of like, well, I'm going to make sure that the reader knows that I think he's a villain. The best comics have always been when the reader takes from it what they want, and they're like, wow, this was an interesting comic, versus me just telling you he's a bad guy. Because that gets into fantasy storytelling, where like the Wicked Queen is literally the Wicked Queen because she's named the Wicked Queen. There's no gray area. She's evil.
Right.
But that's not how comics work. That's great for a 90-minute Cinderella or Snow White fairy tale.
Disney. It may
not for ongoing series.
It may be owned by Disney, but this isn't Disney. All right, we got to go with the gray area. Okay, that's what X-Men is. Like, it's always about the gray area. Like, on one hand, Krakoa is a shot against all humanity, but on the other hand, it's a safe place for mutant kind, because anytime they extended their hand out to humanity slapped it, spit on them, said, we don't want you here. So what the mutants have done, they've taken up their ball and said, we're going to go over there. You leave us alone, or we'll come after you.
Right.
Well, I'm sorry. That's the implication.
Right, sort of. Yeah. That's what some people think. I think too that there's some, I can't remember the titles now. I don't remember exactly because I'm reading so many comics, not just X-Men.
Yeah.
But some of them there's been a few books where I've read it. I'm like, this was very badly written because all the humans are bad and blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, well, I'm not a bad person. You're not a bad person. So we wouldn't be behaving like this. So when they say all humanity, what are they really saying? It's like, that seems unrealistic. You could say that this nation doesn't want any part of it. And you might think, well, that sounds realistic. Yeah, like this nation would reject these mutant gates. But some people might be like, this is cool, right? So there was one book where they showed good humans and good human mutant interactions. And I thought, this is good. Because some people are good people too. Like, look, 90% of the people walking around are good people. They're not assholes. They're not going to kill you. Right? It's like, so, and some people might be scared of the mutants. Like, I'd like to see a book where, there's actual people that are scared of the mutants. They don't want them dead. They're just scared.
Right. Like, I always thought it'd be really cool for like a live action thing where they just take black and white documentary style and have people like who are victims of mutant battles. Just like just like this one girl said, I don't know, this one lady would say, oh, this man went into my mind and made me think this, and this. And then when I woke up, I saw blood and it made me kill my entire family. That would be cool. I would, okay, that wouldn't be cool to see, but like.
Right. I got you. But yeah, it would add to it.
Yeah. And it kind of gets like, okay, it's not, and also I want to know, like, okay, with Graydon Creed, this is what always kind of bugged me out. Okay, so Graydon Creed, Stryker, all these anti-mutant zealots, they don't like mutants. Okay, but how do they feel about other minority groups? Like, is Graydon Creed just like, is he an ally to everybody? Is he a Is he an ally to LGBT? Is he an ally of Black Lives Matter? Is he like all that?
They're never gonna touch something like that. That's for damn sure. Because see, this is what I'm saying. When you have these poor writers, where it's like, look, you want to make a villain, then make a villain. If you don't want to make a villain, then don't. If you want to make a gray character, then make a gray character. The thing is like, okay, like the problem happens when I start to think this guy has a point. Like, do you really want Magneto running around unchecked, lifting up buildings and cars and dropping them on people? Like, I'm thinking this is not good, right? Like, what was it? Was it Days of Future Past? The movie, Magneto rose the entire stadium and he drops it and stuff. And it's like, I'm thinking, yeah, let's get the Sentinels in here. Like, this guy's causing it. Like, this isn't some blue-skinned girl running around. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
This isn't like Nightcrawler. Poor little guy, blue-skinned little guy running around from the mob, from like an angry lynch mob. This is a guy who's lifting up stadiums and it's like, this guy's crazy. And he's willing to kill.
Well, you got to remember the reason why. Like, Magneto doesn't just do stuff like that. He's not just like, he's not going to like, I want to kill you all willy-nilly just because. He has reasons for doing what he does. And most of the time, if you're around him, he'll start telling you why. Because, he's a queen, because he likes to talk. He likes to hear himself talk. So, like, that's how I always looked at him. So, with him...
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Finish your point.
So with him, it's just like, I just think, I think this with all the mutants, they need better PR. Like, Avengers have great PR. When they're fighting Kang or Doctor Doom, there's a PR team ready to get it out to the public. Like, okay, the Avengers were doing this. This is why this was happening. Same thing with the Fantastic Four. The X-Men do not have it. They just go in, do the job, and leave. Like, so like they need a public relations person.
Yeah, I think the drama of X-Men comes from the reader knowing the intentions, and then the characters in the story, of course, they don't know the intentions. So if I'm a person standing around watching Magneto drop, like a stadium, I don't really care what his reasons are. I'm like, you almost killed me, So now we, the audience, or the fans, know what's going on. So that's where you have to be very careful in your writing. See, X-Men is tougher to write, so you need to be a little bit more, smarter and plan out your stories better, because everybody knows that Superman is a good guy. Everybody knows that, Spider-Man's a good guy, whether they approach that or not, saying, oh, people are scared of Spider-Man, yeah, whatever. Like, it's common knowledge. So, but X-Men, you don't know, like what you're saying. It's like, okay, is Cyclops a good guy? Like, if you took a bunch of people in the world of Marvel, the actual human people in Marvel's world, and you interviewed them and said, what do you think of the Fantastic? Like, what do you think about Reed Richards? He's a great scientist. What do you think of Cyclops? I don't know, because, he saved the world a bunch of times. And it's like, but you don't really know. You don't really know that, right? So that's your PR thing coming into play. You don't really know what he's done. You only know that, oh, he's a mutant and mutants hate us, but they don't really hate you. This is why we have to the writing is so important, because I hate when I'm reading an X-Men comic and a good guy mutant does something mean to a human person who might be scared. And it's like, yeah, but you're supposed to be better than this. You're not going to change their mind by getting angry at them or beating them up and saying, oh, you're an idiot. It's like, that's not going to change anyone's mind. They're just going to go back thinking they were right.
Right. Yeah. Like, yeah, you're right. There needs to be more thought put into it. And also, I don't know. This is maybe just me, but I think X-Men needs to be written by a person of color, because they can really go into like those nuances that, like, there's never been a person of color as a writer of the main X-Men title. Never. It's
I don't even know. Yeah. Okay. So there never has been.
No.
And the thing is for me, my favorite X-Men stuff is adventuring, just like Black Panther, just like even Iron Man. Anytime they get into like a real world scenario, I tend to kind of tune out a bit, because I'm like, it's like, I want to see adventuring. And, it's like this stuff with the Krakoa is fine, but it's getting a little bit too like political with each other. Like, they're, it's like Magneto wants a seat on the thing, and then we can't give a seat to Destiny. We have to vote against her. I'm like, wait, what's happening here? Like, can you guys go like fight something cool? Like the best issue of that X-Men, that new X-Men title was probably the best because they fought stuff right away. You know what I mean? Like they got into it and started fighting. I like the 90s style or thinking of like, or even the 80s where it's like, let's have a big threat and we're fighting this threat and the Earth doesn't know that we're saving them. And the people are still, ignorant, or they're still mutant haters, but they don't know that we're saving them. I like that angle versus Krakoa's political system. Like, should we resurrect this person? I don't know. Go fight somebody.
Okay. All right. So you would want a political X-Men book and a regular adventure X-Men book.
Right.
Like Uncanny and X-Men. Like that'd be easy to do.
Yeah, do right. If you want, see, like X-Corp, it's like I was only reading X-Corp because I had to, otherwise I would have canceled it. That can go on forever. I don't care because I'm not interested in it. The X-Men I like is going on adventures and fighting people, just like Black Panther, Jack Kirby, Black Panther, Jungle Action, Black Panther, like T'Challa going out, venturing out, and saving the day, going on adventures. This political system fighting, on Wakanda. It's like, what is happening? Like, I don't care. I don't care who the king of Wakanda is. I want to see Black Panther go fight guys, right? Okay. That's what I like.
Okay, so I would say when the Brood came through to Krakoa during the whole King Egg thing, you love that. Like,
yeah, I'm all over that, man.
Like you,
yes.
Like, okay, I really think that these comics should be cartoons because it would be so cool to see. Can you imagine them doing that little two-part arc that was awesome? Just the Brood.
Yeah, just have that play out.
And it's like, why are you the Brood egg?
Yeah, and like, what about like Hellions? I mean, that's an action book. It's like you have your setup, right, with your characters, and then they go on some sort of mission or something.
Yeah.
And it's like right now it's the whole thing with Nanny and Orphan Maker and all that. It's like, okay, yeah, this is cool. They're fighting. I love Empath. He's become one of my favorites because of this Hellions series. He's still wearing that pink and black, whatever.
Hellions thing, yeah.
Yeah, which is absolutely awful, but I love it. I need an action figure of that. I would buy a statue of that because it's just it's the old New Mutants pink get up, and I'm like, this is great.
But I'm agreeing with Hellions is great. If I had to compare it to a TV show, it would be Archer. Like, just
right.
They don't really like each other, and they're like, okay. Remember after X of Swords, when after Sinister killed the entire team, resurrected him, and
that was awesome.
And then I love how Grey Crow, Empath, and Havoc were all like, "Hey, Sinister's here. Havoc, watch the door. You're gonna tell us what happened."
Yeah.
Whoop his ass. They were hunting, and then Psylocke is like, "Man, come on, like he did like." That just
yeah, that was great.
I love it. Like just the whole thing with I just love the fact that also remember when Sinister got kidnapped and Sage was telling the team like, oh, Sage got kidnapped by Arcade, and they're like, so I was like, that is the best answer to that. Just
yeah, it's like, oh, okay, what do I care?
And no, they said like, no, so you want to get a sandwich or something? Like, stop it. Stop it.
And Hellions is done too, I think, right? Next issue is the next one, the last one.
But it seems like they're back to where they started from, because like the first issue, they were all on trial, and now they're back to being on trial. It's like a bunch of OJs.
Now, see, Hellions is a surprise hit because I really didn't think too much of that. I do like Havoc. Other than Havoc, everyone else on that team, like Quanon, I don't really know her that well. Empath, I know briefly from the Rob Liefeld New Mutants back in the day, which I've only read more recently. Who else is on there? Like Orphan Maker and Nanny, I didn't even know who those characters were at all.
Oh man, they were great. Wild
great.
Child and
Wild Child's like,
I like Scalp Hunter. Okay, I understand it's not racially sensitive to call him.
I don't even think it's that bad. Like, it sounds cool to me. Right. Like,
I mean, like, he got his name from because he was a Vietnam vet and he used to take scalps. That was a nickname. Like, I don't know.
I don't even think that's that. You know, like that's one where we're getting a little too sensitive now. Like, I mean, Scalp Hunter, that's cool. Like that doesn't like it doesn't seem like that's that bad. And I don't think they're saying that all like, you know, whatever natives or whatever are like.
Nobody's saying that.
Nobody's saying that. Like I understand if you're calling them certain things that were always used as like a bad, you know, term, and you can say that like you know, Chinese.
Yeah, like fine. That I understand that. But like Scalp is supposed to, like, he was on a team with Sinister, and if you were on a team with Sinister, you need a scary name. I mean, your boss's name is Mr. Sinister.
Yeah, and like Grey Crow, like, I mean, that's cool, but it's just not like, if I say, oh, there's this guy, you know, his name is Scalp Hunter, you're like, oh, man, yeah, I gotta check this guy out, you know? It's like, his name is Grey Crow. It's like, oh, okay.
God. You know what you're getting, and like, oh, can we just?
Yeah, but the team is great.
The team, yeah, like you, I love this team. Like, I love Havoc.
Yeah,
I know. Awesome. Okay, I'm one of the few people who actually acknowledges that Quanon was on the X-Men back in the day. Like, she was on the team. She was a full. Yeah, she got the legacy virus, but she was on the team. Mm-hmm. I count it. Like, she had her own life. You know, Empath is cool because he's such a little asshole. But you can.
He showed emotion though. Didn't he cry a little bit or whatever?
Yeah, he did. But like, I don't really understand why. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't understand why they're so down on him, because it's all Emma. Like, that whole team, to me, this is my whole thing. That team was put together as a way to keep an eye on Sinister.
Right.
Because, yeah, all right. And also Quanon, she was stupid for thinking that she was going to be the one person that Sinister wasn't going to screw over. like, it's like, she's like, oh, my kid, like, you had to go for that guy. You know, like, his Yelp reveal always says, no, do not go to this guy. No good will come out of this. Talk to Gambit.
Yeah, you should never go, like, I like that that's a constant. Like, Sinister is going to screw you over, no matter what it seems at the time. And I like that too, because I don't like this idea that sometimes they just change a character around and now we're supposed to accept them as something new. It's like, but again, you know, Empath, oh, everyone's down on Empath. Well, Apocalypse was at your table. Like, I mean, give me a break. Is Empath? I don't know. Now, maybe he is, but Empath, from what I know,
he's kind of like Purple Man from Jessica Jones.
Right. So he's a douche, but he's not like Apocalypse level, you know, Carnage or what, or like, you know, like where he's killing
Apocalypse. Like, hey, we're supposed to give everybody a free pass. Apocalypse played ball as soon as he got in. As soon as he stepped on the island, he said, "I'm with you. I have no plans. This is just what I wanted." Sinister, fuck that guy. He's about to do something. And it's fuck that guy.
He doesn't care about mutant rights or freedoms.
He doesn't. But here's the thing. Honestly, I could totally see why they had to bring him in, because if you're gonna have Krakoa, you better keep an eye on him. You gotta keep keep him close so you can keep an eye on him, because the world all wild, all willy-nilly, no, you don't know what he's gonna get up to. So I'm just I
agree with that. You can't have him roaming around, free, with free reign or whatever. It's better to have, him like kind of at your table there. But I'm liking this whole Destiny angle here. It's kind of interesting. Like, this is all playing out in Inferno, which is, I think, a pretty good success.
Yes. Yeah, it's been good. It's been good. I've been loving it.
Yeah.
With Destiny though, like, okay, with Mystique and Destiny, okay, they are good together, but they lose. They're like they win. They always get it. They do really well up to like the big job, but they never win the big one.
They never close the deal or whatever.
So like, I'm looking at them like, you guys are a couple of overachieving nerds who never win. You guys suck. But I don't really trust. I don't trust Mystique and Destiny because they're crazy. And a lot of people think, oh, great, they're such a great couple because they're lesbians. Like, no, they are crazy. Crazy. Like, Rogue would tell you, like, yeah, I don't fuck with them. It's like, I come by their house, I wave, and I just keep on going.
And I've never really liked Mystique. I don't think she's very interesting to me as a character. Although I do think Destiny is very interesting because when she had Moira there and she's like, listen, if you try to mess with me, you're going down. That was awesome. Like, that was pretty intense. But yeah, Mystique is rubbing, like, now it's almost like Mystique was around in order to get Destiny back. And now that Destiny's back, it's like, okay, Mystique, we don't really need you anymore. Like, you served your purpose and you're kind of done now. Because like her transforming into different people, it's like, oh, okay. I mean, like, that's a cool power and all that. But like, any telepath, or even like Daredevil or somebody, it's like you can't get by them. So
smell her out too. Like if you're
like Wolverine would smell her.
Yeah, and it's just weird. Like all this added on necessity. Okay, I know you heard about that whole that plot to make Mystique Nightcrawler's father, which was so weird. Like, no, that could never work because the genetics don't work out. Because if Destiny was Nightcrawler's mother, he would be able to see the future or something. He wouldn't have a tail. Like, there's a bunch of stuff that would have gone on. Like, he would have been.
This is this dumbassery crap, which really is not helping. Low sales. It's like, sales are already low on comics. Can you stop with this nonsense? Like, I mean, in my opinion, okay, so if Mystique transforms herself into a man, what, does she have sperm now? Like, I don't get it. Like,
but she doesn't though, because like people have I think they just like they mislabeled her. They think that she's a trans person when she's not. Like, a lot of people, it's like, oh, because she can change it back and forth. Like, no, that doesn't mean she's actually. It's more like, look at her name, Mystique. It's a disguise. It's like Batman. Like, you don't, like, it's a mystery. She's a woman.
She can look like aliens too, right?
Yeah.
Can she look like aliens?
Yeah.
So that doesn't mean she has the physiology of an alien, right? So if she yeah. Right, like, so if she turns into an alien, that doesn't mean she can go mate with other aliens of that species. It's just like,
exactly. She's basically like a living hologram when she changes. Like,
right.
It looks nice, but it's not real. Like, she can't even imitate mutant powers.
Right. So you would think if she copied people, you would think that if you're saying that she literally completely changes, then why doesn't she get their powers? Because she doesn't change. It's only a visage or whatever. It's like literally just the outside of her looks different.
It's a total visual thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just think that like, Mystique is the Harley Quinn to Destiny's Joker. And I like seriously, at this point, I would have brought Destiny back and had her and Mystique have their big thing, and then just put them both in the pit. Like, phew, glad we got at it. Like, you did not need that.
Well, do you think they're going to unravel? So Hickman is, when is he done? He's done in Jan or just?
I think he's done
after Inferno.
Yeah.
So do you think after Inferno, do you think they're going to? You think Destiny and Mystique are going to mess up this entire Krakoa thing, and we're going to get a reboot of X-Men where it's going to be more like Krakoa is done and it's going to go back to the old style where they're just in a mansion or wherever they are. Well, they're in a tree now. They're in the tree house now.
Right. No, oh, I hope not. I hope they don't do like a coup where like Mystique and Destiny take over and like there's like a rebellion against her, which are all X-Men or mostly X-Men, and they decide to just like we'll go back to school as an act of protest to say like we're not like them. It's weird. I don't want that. But we don't know what Destiny and Mystique's plans are. We just know that
right.
All right, let's just put it out there. Mystique and Destiny have bitten off Magneto's entire mutant style. His name, his cause. Just like, come on. They have they're biters. They're Milli Vanilli.
Right.
That's all they are. They just a couple of biters. We don't know what they want. We know what Magneto wants. We knew what Apocalypse wanted, but we don't know what Mystique wants. She'll just like shank you for no reason. And then like, oh, you're not the right person I shanked. Well, I was going to shank you later. So
yeah, that was sort of what I was hinting at too, where I'm like, okay, so now that Mystique has Destiny back, what do you want to do? Like what is the point? Like, okay, so we've got Moira now and we're going to mess with her. And okay, to what end? You want to run Krakoa? Okay, you're going to run it, but you guys suck. You can't run it. If you don't have Charles and Magneto, and by default, if you don't have Charles and Magneto, you're not going to have any of the X-Men. You don't have Scott. You don't have Jean. You're not going to have Wanda. You're not going to have Quicksilver. You're not going to have anybody who works with Magneto or Charles. So what are you guys going to do with the two of you? Like Mr. Sinister, if Mystique and Destiny unraveled this whole thing and got rid of those guys, Mr. Sinister would take over that island in 2 minutes.
No. Actually, I think Sinister would turn. He would have his clone farms actually on the island, and everybody.
Yeah.
I don't go there anymore.
Because I don't understand there, and that's the one thing with Inferno that's a bit unclear. Like, okay, Destiny's back, fine. Okay, well, we've got Moira McTaggart under our thumb. It's like, okay, to what end? Like, what do you guys want? You want to rule Krakoa? Okay, rule it. You think Emma's gonna let you get away with that?
No.
You're gonna have Sinister, Emma, Professor X, Magneto, and everyone who's under them against you guys. How are you going to win? Like, I can understand. Yeah, I understand. You can have a few people under their thumb, but like Cyclops and Jean and the X-Men aren't going to sit around saying, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Scott and Jean will not put that. They will not let that stand. They will come.
No.
They will come after them.
Yeah. And you're going down. Jean Grey's like super powerful. If Jean Grey is against you, you're not. If Jean and Emma are together, it's over. Plus, there's Polaris on this side, plus Magneto on this side, and you got Wanda on his team. Like, how are you going to win? Like, it's impossible.
But apparently Mystique and Destiny think they know better. Because they're so smart, because they're so clever, and it's just like, no, because you're so low key that no one watches you, so you just do all your little stuff behind everybody else's back, thinking that you're so clever when nobody really cares about you. And that's what
you and I plotting against my buddy Sean doesn't mean anything.
Right?
It's like, ha ha, we tricked Sean. It's like, yeah, but nobody cares about Sean.
So
right, like, ha ha ha, we pulled one over on him.
Yeah, but he didn't know.
It's like, what's the difference? What does that have to do with
it? I don't know what they're going to do with Krakoa. I want them to keep it going because I want to see all right, for years, it always seemed like for every step the X-Men take, the mutant kind takes 3 steps back. Because I remember a time where Genosha was a regular thing just a regular, like, oh, is that the same Nation of Mutants? Hey, man, whatever. Hey, what are we gonna do? We can't tell other countries what to do. Da, 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 da. But like we've seen the X-Men progress. We've seen them the Morrison run when Xavier outed himself. Okay. When he outed himself, when Utopia happened, when like the mutants have tried to progress, but
right.
And this is their next step. I think really they should just get out of that galaxy. Just leave, because humanity has gone after them on every turn. Like, I don't know. That's just how I look. It's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing what's happening next because I'm just curious. I don't know, like, is it going to just be like an overhaul? I'm always nervous. They do this with Doctor Who a lot. Someone comes in, like just recently, and then they're like, okay, we're canceling everything and we're doing it my way now. And you're like, okay, I hate what they did it. They actually, Hickman did it himself. All of those titles got canceled, right? And some of them were just starting out. And he basically erased all of that and said, we're done. And it came out of nowhere. And he's like, okay, now we're rebooting it. It's going to be the dawn of X, and that's it now. And you're like, oh, okay. And I like some of those previous books.
Yeah, X-Force was good. New Mutants was good.
Yeah.
X-Men was really good. I wasn't reading Age of X-Men. I was like, you know what? I'm not a masochist. I'm not going to do that to myself.
Yeah, I can't remember all the ones that were out, but like Ed Brisson, who I like, who was writing a couple or one of them. And it's like, New Mutants was, good. It's like, they just sort of said, okay, we're done with all this and we're starting over. And it's like this jumping on point for people, which is fine, but there was already a jumping on point. It seems like it used to be 10 years and there'd be a jumping on point. Now it seems like every year or two, oh, we need a jumping on point. It's like, people would have jumped on by now. Exactly. Like, right? Like, if you don't have them now, you don't have them. So
exactly. Stop trying to cater for this hypothetical person who's just going to walk in and say, hey, this is my first comic book. When people have Google. If you want to know about something, Google. Yeah. But
yeah, and then it's like, that sounds good, I'll buy it. I've seen people come in. I don't remember if you were on the stream when I was talking about this for Shang-Chi. They'd seen the movie in the theater, and they came into my shop, and I'm there, not my shop, but the shop that I go to. Yeah. And they come in and they're like, oh, what do you got for Shang-Chi? And they're like, oh, we've got this and that. And they didn't want the comics. And I'm like, issue 4 or issue 3 of the rebooted Shang-Chi just came out. And I'm saying to them, like, hey guys, if you want the comics, because my store stocks a lot, you could probably still get number 1 because it wasn't a sellout. I was like, you can get the first 3 issues right now. And they're like, oh, I don't know. And they just wanted some Funko Pops and they moved on with their lives. And I'm like, you know what? You guys aren't, like, you're not going to be the fans that stick with it. What's the point of catering to you? You bought a couple of Funko Pops. They felt happy and they left. They're not Shang-Chi fans. No, they wanted to buy a couple of Funkos and that was it.
They're in the moment. It's weird.
Right.
All right, J-Man, thank you for showing up today. I will be on yours later.
Yeah, so just pop on. I send you the link whenever you come in, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, we'll definitely do this. But
all right,
this is 1407 Gray Malkin Lane. I remember the past, so you don't have to. All right, bye.